Hello beautiful people, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Lexi, and in today's video, as you can see, I am back home. I am in a different background, but I am going to be setting up for you guys both my 2023 setup as well as my January setup for my bullet journal. Of course, I decided to condense both into one video because I don't think 2023 is girthy enough to have its own video. It's only like 4 pages. I usually do a more in-depth yearly spread, but I guess I just felt like I didn't need it because I didn't really use the ones in the past that much. So instead I just did a quick little cover page, I did a goals page, I did my mood tracker, and I did a playlist because I do like having that to look back on, seeing how my music taste evolved throughout the years. And the way I set that one up is I just pick my favorite songs from my monthly playlists, or my favorite song, singular, I guess, and I put that down there, and I just like how it sort of showcases my music taste for the year. It's kind of fun. I went with a very minimalistic like leaves theme for this, and my January theme is also kind of very much minimalistic, which isn't something I normally do, but here's the thing. I already had to bring a month's worth of everything back from Missouri for winter break, and I did not want to also bring back all of my art supplies because it's kind of just a pain to transport. So I picked out like 6 markers, my ruler thingy, I brought what I needed, and I said, we are going to make this work. And I did. And I actually like it a lot more than I thought I would. This leaves theme isn't necessarily like my favorite that I've ever done, but it's not nearly as boring as I thought it would be. I think that it was done well, to toot my own horn, and it's not quite as upsetting for me to look at as I originally thought that it might be, but that's a good thing. I'm very happy with it, and I'm actually a lot more impressed with January than I thought I would be. I picked a color palette for this, which I don't normally do. I normally just pick like the colors that I need to make the artwork that I'm doing work. If you've been with me for a while, you know I'd like to do super detailed like watercolor artwork spreads. But for this, since I didn't want to bring all that with me, I just kind of did more of a minimalistic, cozy theme, I think is the best way to describe this setup, is cozy. I know I picked colors that are more relevant to sort of fall times than winter times in like January, but I don't really like winter colors that much. I mean, I don't dislike them. I love blues, don't get me wrong, but I don't know. I don't feel like putting that in my bullet journal in that amount. It's too much. So I went with this more warm-toned color palette instead, and I also, to add just a little bit more detail to it, added in these washi tapes, and I love how they look when it comes like all together. It really sort of brings the entire thing together, and it makes me a lot more happy than I thought it would. And I'm very glad about that because I thought that I would hate this because I do not do minimalistic spreads for a reason, because it just kind of irks my soul to not put detail in there. I also added in a new tracker. So I added in this chore tracker because I want to get better about, not procrastinating on chores or not doing chores. And I changed my mood tracker because filling in the colors, like the color boxes or whatever I have for that month, was a lot more tedious than I ever really wanted to do. So I would find myself going back and like filling in the mood trackers much later. And I don't want to do that anymore, so I decided to make it easier on myself and just have to put like a little dot on the like chart where my mood falls for that day, if that makes any sense. I think you can understand how a graph works. I also, if you'll notice, did not do a calendar page because since I started doing my planner, the calendar kind of became irrelevant in my bullet journal, so I just don't really feel the need to spend time making a calendar page, especially not now when I'm at home and I want to be like spending time with my family and not like doing bullet journal things. So that is going to be a new thing that I'm not doing, is my bullet, like, calendar in my bullet journal, because why? It's kind of irrelevant at this point. My finances tracker, I also changed quite a bit. I kept the savings boxes because those were very helpful to me, but I got rid of the sort of Alistair method tracker for how much I spend and when, because again, I wasn't really using it. I can just look at my bank statements and see there, so I don't really need it. It was kind of arbitrary, but I did put a starting and ending balance for each of my bank accounts just because I want to be able to see if I end the month with more than I started and vice versa, because that is one of my goals for this year, is to try and end the month with more money than I started it with, which I feel like is always a good goal to have, but just in case I don't do that for some reason, I can now look back on it, and that'll be much easier to keep up with than like a whole finances tracker. So my stats tracker, again, keeping with the cozy theme, I just had a fun little bookshelf and some plants because that's cozy to me. It makes me happy, it makes me feel at home, and I did like these little boxes for my each individual stat that I want to track. And of course the accent color for this is gold, which naturally it's a warm toned spread. Gold. I have said this, but I really like the look of the color palette and like the set 4 colors that I used plus the gold accent with the washi tape. It works so much better than I thought it would, and even though this is a very like simple and minimalistic spread, I am not bored by it like I thought I would be. I don't hate all of the white space, and I am just actually really pleased with how it came out, and I might have to do more spreads like this because, especially if I have a time constraint, it just worked out very well. So here is the final flip through of both my 2023 setup as well as my January setup. I do hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you did, please be sure to subscribe for more content just like this. You should like the video because it's easy, comment because it makes me smile, and I will see you in the next video. Thank y'all so much. Bye guys.